I'm here waiting for Larry King. Look at all these people he's interviewed. The Dalai Lama, Oprah, Bill Clinton, Mike Tyson. What do you think, speaking of controversial, Trump, this whole
Well, I know
election?
Donald for 30 years. First you don't believe half what he's saying.
Right.
He's pro-choice.
Yeah.
He's a Christian. Donald Trump cares about same-sex marriage. He's just latched on to something.
Right. He wants
I
to
like
win.
him. There's no ego bigger than his.
So he has an ego in your experience.
Has it?
Okay, I just.
Can I tell the joke that we heard the stand-up comedian say about Trump? I don't know if that it's
What is
pretty,
it?
about his ego. It's pretty crass. I won't say it.
Donald Trump is an unusual guy. I don't think he can win, but
He's a Brooklyn guy, right?
his father built homes in
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn. Yeah.
But he's a smart guy. But you think the ego?
Smart business.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know the world well. I wouldn't trust him with.
Yeah.
He's going to outdo Putin.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel confident with him.
I'm amazed he
Hand
got.
on the nuclear weapon. No, not Donald.
What do you think, though, that it says that somebody like Donald gets this far? What does it say about society?
Cruz H.L. Mencken, the great writer, who said, "No one ever went broke underestimating the intelligence of the American public." They're assuming that the public at large is smart.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Look at the things they like and the things they buy and the things. But I've interviewed just about everybody. 7, 8 presidents, world leaders.
Can I ask you a somewhat controversial question about presidents? George W. Bush. There's so much, he wasn't a competent person. He got there from his dad, and you have that perfect
He
gauge.
was competent in some areas.
Okay.
He's a great baseball guy. I spent 2 hours in the Oval Office just talking baseball.
Wow.
And I had just landed in Washington, and he was flying to California.
Mm-hmm.
And we finished, and he says, "Hey, you want a lift? We could talk more." And the person was, "Here's the leader of the free world. You want a lift? We could do 5 more hours on baseball." So I turned down the chance to fly to the.
Wait, you didn't go with him?
I just landed in Washington to work.
Oh, okay. So because there's things.
George W. Bush was not stupid.
Yeah.
He wasn't the brightest bulb on the block, but he wasn't stupid. I think his big mistake was letting Cheney run him.
Really?
He shouldn't have gone into Iraq.
Yeah.
He just made some major mistakes.
Did you interview Cheney?
Oh, many times.
Was Cheney
I
just?
interviewed bad Cheney, good Cheney. Cheney years ago was moderate.
Huh.
He didn't want to go past, when the first Iraq war, we didn't go into Kuwait.
Right.
We went to Kuwait, we didn't go into Iraq. He changed, Colin Powell said he's the most changed person he ever knew.
Really?
Was Dick Cheney. And what changed him was 9/11.
Do you think it was just that?
He got warped.
And he just became.
No, Dick, he
Aggressive?
chaired our dinner once for our charity. He was always very nice to me in the vice president's house, and I didn't agree with him at all. But I've had a lot of. Goldwater was great to me. I like Goldwater. Didn't agree with anything he said. You don't have to agree, to be disagreeable. You don't have to be disagreeable.
Right, if you don't agree. Did you meet Reagan?
Oh, sure. I interviewed Reagan. I had a great thing. Me and Reagan and Nancy, after his presidency, went to lunch at the Bel Air Hotel.
Okay.
And as we get there, there's a wedding about to take place. A wedding. And the father of the bride sees the three of us and said, he was thrilled. So we take pictures with him and his daughter. And Reagan just innocently, said, you want us to be a little part of the wedding?
Oh, wow.
And the father said, oh my God. So Reagan escorted the bride
Oh, wow.
down the aisle. I walked with Nancy behind them down the aisle. Now, the fun part of this was the people were all gathered in the thing, and they look up, and Ronald Reagan is walking down with the girl.
With no announcement.
Yeah,
No announcement.
That would be so tricky.
That was when he was the president?
right after his presidency.
Oh, right after. That's a wedding they'll never forget.
They'll never forget that.
Yeah. Was there ever an interview that you went in with any kind of perception about someone that was completely changed by the end
I
of it?
tell you, sure. The most was the crazy guy from Watergate,
G. Gordon Liddy.
G. Gordon Liddy. I, reading about him, knowing all I knew about Watergate, I'm a liberal. I hated G. Gordon Liddy. And now I'm going to interview him. And he walked in, and he was so incredibly honest, so disturbingly honest. I wound up saying, I like this guy. I mean, he's nuts. You know, he's the one that lit a match and let him burn his hand. I mean, he was crazy.
Yeah.
So I said to him, did you really offer to kill Jack Anderson? Jack Anderson was a writer. He said, yes. I said, no, you went to President Nixon. He said, yes, I thought Jack Anderson was an enemy of this country and he was writing bad things, and yes, I would have killed him. So I said, in other words, by that figuring, if I thought you were an enemy of this country and I wanted to kill you, he goes, fair game. That's fair game.
Good God.
That's intense.
Draw your weapons. I like him. You know, G. Gordon, you could like crazy people.
Yeah.
G. Gordon was nuts.
Wow. He's not still on the radio, though. He had a
I
show
know,
for a while.
where is he now? Yeah, he did.
He is?
Larry still likes him.
So Kardashian. Did you interview the Kardashians ever?
Yeah.
What's the thoughts on that? Speaking of.
I knew Bob very well, the father. And I'm on the new, you know, the American Crime Story.
Oh, okay.
They gave me a wig and I'm playing myself.
Really?
I'm the only one playing himself.
And you think, what do you think of the Kardashians? Because they're, I mean, the biggest Snapchat in the world, the biggest TV show in the world is people
What is
watching.
their talent?
Making money.
I mean, the mom, Chris, it's more of a pure reality. See our life, watch what we do. That's I guess.
But why do we, I know my
Yeah.
friend Ryan produces it.
Yeah.
Why do we watch it? I don't watch them. Why do you watch them?
Voyeur. I think people watch it. It's like a voyeur TV. You know, you're just in. I don't watch it at all, but so you're not a huge fan.
I'm a fan of what? I don't want to be a fan of. I've interviewed them, and they're famous for being famous.
Yeah. Did you ever interview Michael Jackson?
I never interviewed him, but I spent some time with him.
Huh.
I got an award from Jesse Jackson's group, and
Okay.
Michael presented it.
What was he like?
He was very quiet, shy, but interesting. I was at Celine Dion in Vegas, and Michael Jackson was in the audience, and she introduced me. She called him up. He didn't want to go up on stage. And he sheepishly walked up on stage. He was very shy. She asked him a few things. He gave her little one-word answers, and then she asked him to perform. And when he performed and danced, just another side of him took over. That was fascinating to watch.
Who was your biggest mentor? Or mentors?
Well, they're not personally mentored, but I listened to Arthur Godfrey and Red Barber, two great broadcasters when I was a kid. Edward Benner Williams, the great lawyer. I learned a lot from him just being around him. Jackie Gleason.
Really?
He was a big friend of mine. And
Is that when you were starting out and he was
I
very
was-
famous
I
at that?
was,
Honeymooners? That's,
he
yeah.
used to come down to Miami Beach. And I met him when I was on the air for 5 years. He really pushed me along, and he did promotions for me, and
there any things
But
he
nobody
told you?
No, except he said to me that you understand the whole secret of this business, which is there's no secret. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best thing. But he just reaffirmed what I knew. That if you're yourself, you can't make the public like you. So some people try to. They fake their voice. I'm the same when the light goes on and when it goes off. You're gonna like me or not like me. I can't make you like me. It is what it is. So I love what I do. I'm me. I'm always me.
What was the most shocking thing somebody ever said to you in an interview? Where you were just sitting there going, I can't believe this. This is how someone said that.
Zsa Zsa Gabor had an incident with a police officer in Beverly Hills.
I remember that.
An argument on the
Did she
phone.
punch somebody or
And
slap?
she's on Larry King Live. We did not have a delay system, and we're taking calls. And a lady called in and said, Zsa Zsa, I saw the incident. I was behind you, Zsa Zsa, and you were wrong. You had definitely not stopped at that full stop. And the cop was right in stopping you, and I know you were yelling at him and everything, but the cop was right. And Zsa Zsa says, hang up on this woman. And I said, no, you were there. And she says another thing, and Zsa Zsa says, fuck you. And that blew me away. Now, of course, you could say that. That don't matter now. But,
Did you get in trouble for that back then?
I don't know. Usually you could, but when they just put us in a delay system. So
So Zsa Zsa Gabor single-handedly changed the broadcast.
You can cut that. Super Bowl has a delay now.
Yeah.
So that girl pulled down her.
Janet Jackson, wasn't it? Janet Jackson?
When I'm interviewing, I was always more interested in the writer than the book. I was interested in the book, but I was interested in the writer, why he wrote them. Why do doctors choose the specialty they choose?
Do you find with a lot of people, it's not planned? Like, I feel like, man, maybe with successful people it's different. I feel like what separates successful people and non-successful is when you ask somebody who hates their job how they ended up there, it's not designed. It's like, well, I was out of work and a friend of a friend said, hey, you want to work here? And I just took this. My stepdad worked as a computer programmer because he needed to pay his way through college, but he never liked it. And then he got trapped in it because it was an income and he had a kid. Whereas when I meet successful people, it's like you said, I always wanted to ask people questions and you just stuck to it.
What percentage of people love their work?
Oh, I actually read a study. 85% of people, the average person doesn't like 85% of their life. So you could extrapolate that and say maybe 15% of people like what they do. Most people don't. Do you agree with something roughly like that?
I guess that's true.
I mean, rough estimate. For sure, most people don't like their job.
The construction worker, the laborer, does he like? And that's some of them.
I think some do. I meet some
Yeah,
people.
there are some do. The construction worker, because he sees a result.
Yeah, they like working with their
Building goes up.
hands. Yeah.
The carpenter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when people don't like a job also is when there's no room for growth. So if you're a construction worker, but you could see yourself potentially owning, the foreman or something like that. Or
I did once an hour interview with a plumber in Miami Beach at a restaurant, and it was really phenomenal. And he told me things. I remember that this is 56 years ago. And he said things I still don't know.
really?
If you're going to buy a house, any house, most people hire inspectors and stuff, Hire a plumber. And let the plumber look in the house. Because you can have a beautiful looking house.
Right.
If the plumbing ain't right.
Well, yeah.
The plumbing is the key to your house. The plumbing is the key to your body.
Right.
Every day, your heart is committing plumbing.
Yeah.
Taking in food, letting out food, waste materials, just
Yeah.
same with a house. So you don't
Huh.
call a plumber. So they built this $10 million house, and where did they cut costs? Well, they don't see the pipes,
Right.
right? I want to see the pipes.
Huh.
I never forgot that.
That's a smart tip. All that simple down to earth
I
stuff.
flew with the president of Audi from New York to LA. I drove him crazy to learn about cars. But I learned little things like when you buy a car that was made on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Really?
If you buy a car made on a Friday, they're anxious to go home.
So they don't quality control check.
They'll cut a cool.
Can you find that out? Can you ask?
Yeah. They'll tell you the day it came off the. You can ask the dealer what day, because it gives them the day that it came out of the plant. Monday is the day they came back to work.
I have an idea for a book. Sorry to interrupt you. What about a book called Every Smart Thing Somebody Told Me? I feel like that would be the amazing
There
book.
was a writer years ago, Sidney Harris. He wrote a wonderful column once a month called "Things I Learned While Looking Up Other Things." Things I learned while looking for other things.
But yours could be things I learned by talking to the most interesting people in the world. That would be a valuable book. You have a book like that?
He's done some of his most notable interviews. Religious leaders.
But I was thinking like just little
Yeah, but little
snippets. It's just like
little things
blurbs.
you've learned. Just
To,
little-
there's a. I just reviewed a book that is one of the most people loved it. It was called How to Win or something. And all the way that she wrote this book, I've never seen a book like this, but it was so. I found myself, even though it felt somewhat elementary, I was hypnotized by it. And it was all these. It was just in little blurbs. So some of them were one paragraph, some of them were 2 pages.
I do a
but all-
column every Sunday night on the internet called "It's My 2 Cents,"
Huh?
and there are 25 comments,
Huh?
just one sentence,
Huh?
all one sentence.
Yeah, people love that. That's the
I
rise
just
of. Yeah.
whack them out every Sunday night.
What was
It's my 2 cents.
Paris Hilton? That kind of.
Paris is a nice girl. We did an event together in Vegas, flew back on a private plane together. Her and her little dog. And,
Did you know her father? Or great grandfather, Conrad Hilton?
no, I had no Conrad, I know her father.
He was married, I think, to Zsa Zsa Gabor. Conrad
Yeah, he was
Hilton.
one of those.
Yeah. For a while.
Larry had Paris Hilton's first interview post jail.
And she came out of jail.
Oh, really? Wonder how jail.
And I said to her, "What did you read in the Bible? What was your favorite verse? All of it."
She couldn't remember one.
She read the Bible like church, like Trump knows Corinthians too.
Do you see that a lot of these interviews, just people BSing you?
Yeah.
They've been prepped to say this.
Sometimes
Do you try to call it out or you just let it go?
sometimes it's obvious.
Yeah.
Well, when she said what the whole thing, what am I going to say? You read the whole Bible.
It's a good way to say I didn't read any of it. Yeah, I have a lot of social media following, so I get a lot of people writing positive and some people writing negative. How do you deal with the negative? I'm sure
Can't do
you.
anything about it.
Do you read your own negative stuff or you just ignore
Some
it?
people read it to me, but I. If everybody likes you, there'd be something wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't read tweets about me. I know there's a lot of tweets, I don't read them.
Yeah.
I don't read anonymous letters.
Oh, really?
No.
Huh.
If it's not signed, I don't read it.
Feel like it's not an honest enough type of.
If they're not honest enough to sign that letter, why should I?
Yeah.